Hello, everybody, and welcome back after our 2-week hiatus. Raj and I have both been traveling and had a lot of things going on work-wise, especially with construction and the changing of the seasons here. So it's been a little crazy. So we haven't been able to join you for the last 2 weeks, but we're back, and we are on phase 10 now. This is like nuts. So I can't believe we're even this far in. So construction phase 10. Today we're going to be talking about plumbing and lighting fixtures that really make your property and your home stand out. But I kind of skipped a whole intro. So for any of you that are just joining us or this is your first video watching, my name is Danielle Palloschi-Browne. I'm an investor and a real estate agent. And I work specifically with other investors, developers, and flippers. And I have my co-host, Raj Tamang, who is an engineer and custom home builder who I ask a lot of questions that you probably have and hope that you can ask an engineer yourself. So hopefully I'm tackling all those questions for you. So today and our builder series, we are working on going through step-by-step of building a home all the way from the ground up. So today, lighting and plumbing. When you start getting fancy, we finally moved on from like weeping weep holes, is that what they're called, in foundations, and now we're actually talking about like fun, pretty stuff, which gets me really excited as like an agent who has to sell houses. So let's start with lighting. Raj, what's really important to note about lighting, like planning lighting? And really, when you start planning lighting, you have to do that before the walls are even up.
Like you said, the most important part of the house, which is more structural framing, that's already inside the drywall now. But these are the things people first see it, right? First impression. When you go inside the house, the lighting, finishes, appliances, cabinets, flooring, those are the things you notice. And I truly believe that lighting fixtures make a huge difference in your house. And especially a high-end house where we primarily focus. If the lighting is not properly done, the money the homeowners or investor they put on to build out the structure, it may not be that efficient, if that makes sense. I mean, house is here, everything is new, but again, sometimes just putting the additional touch to your design or to a house, it just gives you a light, light. I would say life. It's almost like life to your house. If you don't have a light, probably it's just a dark place, right?
No, it's so true. And there's little features and finishes that I think have become much more popular, and maybe even more standard as time has gone on, that I think actually brings a lot of life to a house. So for instance, like lighting around built-in televisions, like wall sconces, LED lights in things like staircases, or in like under cabinetry. Like that's another really common one that I've seen. I think it really just emphasizes, and that's just on the interior of the house, but I think it really emphasizes things that you're supposed to be drawing your eye to. It can create a ton of architectural interest without actually adding structure to anything in addition to what you're already doing. And then on the outside of your house, I think exterior lighting design has become much, much more popular, because the truth is, especially in different parts of Virginia or slightly more rural areas, say you have like a half an acre to an acre lot, and maybe you don't have a lot of street lighting in the evenings, like little lights, and these could be LED, they can be, there's lots of different varieties that I've seen, but lights that like say run up your driveway so it's clear where you're parking, or come up from your flower beds, uplight a tree, even like a large tree in a front yard or a backyard. I've seen so much of that become increasingly popular, and I personally feel like it brings a lot of value without always being a very large expense. I feel like sometimes it can be done pretty cost effectively depending on what you're hoping to do.
These days, even outside, you can find the solar powered lighting, right? Even all this landscaping, even outside the house, we install it. And also, for example, talking about lighting outside, usually you have a front door. Probably if you have a garage, there's some lights on the garage. Also, there would be some floodlights around the house, right? And these lights, as I say again, this could be directly powered, or it could be battery powered. It could be solar powered, but these are sensors, so you don't have to be lit on all the time. So this is very sensitive. That's what I have. Pretty much all the house we built, a new house, we have it. At least you have like, two on the side, one each side, and two on the back maybe, because that kind of helps, right? Especially at night. And this not too that these are not expensive, and at the same time, like I said, all these are LEDs. These lights last forever. Right, and the brightness, and it's amazing. So as I was saying, you just have to find it. If in your construction team, or if you have a a design team, they may understand this whole thing. As a designer, as a builder, I work with a lot of designers. The designer who understand the whole design, they put these lightings very carefully, because like I said, if they don't put us, not just the lighting, you also have to say the finishing of the lighting, right? If you sometimes you have a black finishes, or it could be chrome, or it could be brushed nickel, or gold, so
or white,
something they have to understand. Let's say, I'll give you an example which I'm learning now, is that let's say in a bathroom, when you have these lighting fixtures, the color of this lighting fixture, you probably want to match with the finishes with faucets, right? The shower faucet, the sink faucet. I've seen some house, all the faucets are black, then your lighting fixtures are chrome, then what do you call it? Those mirrors. Yeah, mirrors, right? The vanity mirrors has a different type of trim. It kind of has to blend in, right? Because it doesn't really cost you much. Actually, it doesn't cost, but those things you can carefully or pay attention and bring that more beauty in your space. So that like I said, there's so many different options. You don't even have to pay a lot of money nowadays. Even for $5-10 million home, we can go to Amazon and buy all these lighting fixtures. You can find anything on Amazon nowadays.
It's true. It's so true. And there's a lot of ways that you can incorporate unique types of lighting, or by simply adding recessed lighting or pot lights, or I've heard them called a lot of different words. It really can completely change a space and the color of the light. So say, I think because you were kind of touching on this for bathrooms, say you have like iron or black finished faucets and things like that, and you pick LED lights for the shower, for the bathroom, and say they have a yellowish hue to them. They might not so now your whole room is going to have a yellowish hue, and what if your whole room is bright white? That might actually not give you just the color of the light bulb, might actually change the entire design of the room, because it wasn't a bright white bulb, or it was a different shade, and it could really it changes how you interact with your space, or how you visualize, or I'm not really describing that well. It's more of, it changes how you experience the space. It does. The colors and the lighting.
Because light bulb you use in the bedroom can't be the same you use in living room and dining room, because the use and purpose is different, right? As I said again, we're not a lighting expert. It's just coming from our experience working with the different designers. But again, if you have a project like this, you may want to consult with someone, a designer who are very familiar with lighting. And like I said, especially spec home builder like me, that is very important, because when people come in, I want to make sure they want to see these things like popped out, right? When they open the door, I want to see very nice chandelier. Always in a house like this, I spend good amount of money for the chandelier, so that when they come in, they see it. Those are the things like this. You don't have to spend tons of money everywhere. Just do some of the places that's mostly people see it as investors. But those things you don't want to compromise on the saving, right? Maybe I know that as an investor, we're talking about always saving money, also bringing the best product. But there are places that you don't want to be too,
you don't want to cheap out on things that can have such a huge impact that it creates a buyer frenzy on your property. I often say you obviously have to be budget conscious when you're investing, right? It's kind of an obvious thing. You only will make as much profit is how well you can manage your project.
Yeah.
But not putting enough in, I have seen a lot of investors make a lot less money than they were planning on and thinking about because they didn't include enough cute, original, unique little features that attracted buyers to their house over something else. Because there's a lot of regular sellers that are just selling their own personal property that have done wonderful renovations, and they have those kind of finishes and features. And your flip is not, or your new construction is not going to stand out if it looks like kind of the same old boring box as as everybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't think investors should really bank on how the market has been for the last 2 years. Well, I don't believe there's going to be a crash. This is not financial advice, but
yeah,
I don't think we're already starting to see some changes from buyers and more contingent, like standard things that used to be standard, right? Like 2016, 2017, inspection contingencies, financing contingencies. I see that coming more and more back.
Yeah, I agree.
A little bit. And that's not something to scare anybody. But make sure your product is what your product needs to be in order for you as the seller, as the owner, as the developer, builder, flipper, whatever, investor in general, it makes it a lot easier for you to sell your property later. And little things that really make it shine, like a great chandelier when you walk in, or I tell this to sellers or flippers a lot in homes that say have like 8.5-foot ceilings, like throughout the whole house, something not very tall, but not like short by any means.
Yeah.
I would, a lot of times with houses like that, I say every light needs to be flush because you want it to feel taller. And you want to put a lot of LED lights because you want it to feel bright, because homes with like lower ceilings can feel really dark. And any place where you can add light really makes things feel bigger. When things are lit well, it feels wider and bigger. So little things like closets or pantries, believe it or not, like in older homes, they often don't have light fixtures in closets. If you can add things like that, that could be a huge value add, and it can make the closets feel a lot bigger, a lot more utilitarian. I've seen a lot of LED lights under cabinets. And I actually saw someone who did an LED light string that went the entire width around the base. Like it was right on top of the baseboard and it uplit in a garage. It was very cool. So it was a 6-inch molding where it's only like a 1/2 inch wide, but it had little tiny rectangular sensors with like a white light that popped up, and it uplit the entire bottom of the whole garage. And I was like, that is cool. So and it was on a motion sensor. So you pulled into the garage and it uplit. Yeah. And then they also had lights above too. I was like, that is really cool. And garden beds, things like that. Solar, I love solar. I think solar lights are great.
Yeah.
It really creates an experience of an impact. Like think when you go to commercial buildings, like a restaurant, you're not going to have bad lighting in the front of a restaurant. It does, because you'll never see it, right? Or in like an office space, while no one likes fluorescent lighting, and that's, notorious for being hated. It really can, like, that's actually, those are two really good comparisons. Like sometimes you go into a restaurant and you're more in like a candlelight situation, and that's to set one mood. That's intentional. Or if you go into like an office with fluorescent lights and then huge windows and you're like really overwhelmed by brightness, or could be overwhelmed by brightness, that's a totally different experience, right? They want to make sure you're awake and you're up and it's not like a fun, sexy mood while you're having dinner. So thinking about those things can be really unique. And lighting places that are very functional, I find to be really interesting. So you mentioned chandelier, like when you first come in, having that like bright impact. Pendant lights are also something that are often used, or I'm seeing in kitchen spaces, like kitchen islands, if you want those to be lit up. And if someone has a lot of artwork. So I've had people that have been interested in adding light fixtures to highlight certain artwork in their home. and there's specific lights for those. Technically, I think they might be considered sconces.
They're almost a spotlight. It usually come from the ceiling, and it's from the ceiling come down and focusing on the wall, right?
Sometimes like that, or sometimes they look like book lights where they're like this wide, and then they have a little piece that comes out with like a small rectangular, but it's more like built into the wall on the side.
Yeah, you can find those too. Yeah, exactly.
You can. So a lot of, and that is specifically installed so you can experience that artwork in a totally different way than if it wasn't lit up at all. So a lot of it is very intentional and to create an experience in the house. Plumbing fixtures, I feel like, also have a lot of that too. In kitchens, there's ones that are touchless now, or you like wave your hand and it turns on or off, or you can just tap them with the back of your hand. And there's been such like innovation in terms of like sprayers, faucets, design of those. What have you seen that you find really interesting that's come out kind of recently?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, faucets are, to be honest with you, for me, I really don't like too much of those automated system, because those systems usually break down quickly. Nowadays you're talking back about the lights like strip light, LED, color lights. It's very popular. It's very easy to install. The rope lights could be, it's a little bit a different way of installation. But the strip lights is very easy. It has a adhesive on the back. You could just attach a stick to the wall, and it has a very warm, and you can change the color, right? You can do a different color or warmth of the lighting. There are a lot of things you can do, but like I say, usually in plumbing fixtures, especially faucets. I mean, there's so many different products we use, but one of the product we use always is Moen products. Are very reliable, and even I know that they're a little bit expensive, but all our houses we do Moen product, because our experience those products very reliable than other products. They have a simple connections. Sometimes that's what I'm saying. Simplicity is better, right? Than try to be too complicated. So some of the water product like Kohler or other ones, they look very fancy. Sometimes there's too many pieces and they break down quickly. The Moen is very reliable, and our plumber likes. I have my plumber actually says, if you don't do Moen, I cannot even give you any warranty on my installation, because I can't even know what's inside. Things like that.
Wow, that's a lot.
Because for me, especially Danielle, especially for me, someone like me, I'm a local, I'm a small spec home builder. What I'm doing, all my business is the neighborhood. In the neighborhood, I work, I live. My kids go to school. So this is my neighborhood. I want to build a reputation as a neighborhood, local, trusted builder. So for me, it's very important to bring that quality and excellence on my product so that they know me, because I want to live here. I want to do business here for another 10 years, 20 years, forever. I know I'm a guy, I'll never retire, unless I'm dropped down, I'm done. But, so it's very important to bring my name and reputation to the neighborhood so they can trust. So this is something I always remember, is that we know that as investors and with Flipper, we said, at least the places where you think you have to put money, for example, chandeliers, right? Kitchen, bathrooms, especially master bathrooms and things like that. Those places are the one people, when they come in, those are the things they will check. So those are the places you don't want to compromise in quality if you're trying to get full money in return. But to me, what I truly believe is like Apple principle, Apple, product with Steve Jobs, what he says is that if you look at the packaging of the Apple, look at the packaging itself, looks like a freaking $100 for $100 phone, saying maybe like $500 phone. The packaging itself is so, properly designed, and it feels like when you look at the packaging, you can kind of say, oh, this is Apple, okay? Because when you say Apple, you're talking about the quality. People say, okay, I need an Apple product, not what, not Apple product. Now people start saying, I need an Apple quality. Because what I believe is Steve Jobs' word principle was that not only you focus on the area you see, like outside, But even those things they put inside, like all those like a motherboard and like anything you don't even see inside your
Yeah.
phone, he put it on with the design and intent in such a way that there's no flaw. He did his 110%. So his
Yep.
principle was, I always remember, is that, yeah, of course, people don't see inside, but the person who built it knows that it's
Yeah.
there. And can you really be proud of your product? Because you know that you didn't do your best to prepare that product. It looks nice, but inside you didn't do your best. So I truly believe in the principle that you really have to strive for excellence inside out. So that in the long term, maybe this take time, year, 2 year, 5 years. But at some point, I think people recognize it, right? Apple
Oh,
was
yeah.
not built in a day. Before Apple, there are other products,
No.
other computers. They're gone now. They're still there. But when you say Apple, people don't even compare. So I
No.
think those are the things I truly believe. That it's just my principle,
Yeah.
and especially for me, a local builder. I'm not nationwide, so people know me because now doing most of these spec homes, they start seeing me. People are talking about me, so I truly pay attention to those things. For me, it's very important, and I
Yeah.
believe that that's very important for you for long term, your business goals. So, but again, this is not directly related to our topic. It's just a principle how we work and how I truly believe by running the operation, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. I completely agree with you. You and I are of the cut from the same cloth like that.
Yeah.
But I think where this ties back into our topic for today is the parts of a home that someone experiences and touches. I think touch is a huge part of the experience of a home, what you see and what you touch. And that's what lighting and plumbing. Well, this sounds actually kind of dramatic the way I'm saying this as I go through it, but like follow me on this. The lighting and the plumbing really is the seeing and the touching and the experiencing of the home, right? Like when you walk in and you see light, it completely changes your mood, changes your experience. Like it's hitting nerves and sensors in your body and how you're experiencing a home, just like heating and cooling does, right? All of that is sensory experience of how a home works. And then when you're touching plumbing, if you don't get high quality plumbing fixtures or light switches, you're touching all of these things, right? It's helping you experience your home as you go through. One of the first things you touch when you come in the house are your lights. Probably the next thing, which a lot of people, because of the pandemic, is like you're probably gonna go wash your hands or something. You're probably gonna or get a drink or something, and you're likely gonna experience plumbing pretty quickly after walking into your house. How those things feel, and if they feel like they're high quality and they're well done, that is an immediate experience for people. So if you're trying to sell this home as a flip, say it's not a custom home build where the buyer or the client picks that. Say you're designing this home for someone to pick. These are the things that you want to make sure look really good. So switches, switch plates, that they all match. Gosh, one of the biggest things I've ever said. I'm like, if you flip a home, just put all new outlets. Make sure they all match. Put all new switches. Make sure the ones that are supposed to be on dimmers are on dimmers. And all the GFCIs or GFCIs, like little things like that.
Now, like you say, all the switches now, you can even find those with the dimmers, and even some of the switches is app control. You can actually control from the app. It doesn't cost you a lot. I mean, for someone very computer savvy, there's so many products available out there. You can do it. I mean, of course, now HVAC system, of course, is you can control. I have in my house, all the new house we build, we use Ecobee product. It's Ecobee, or you could use other ones. But the thing I like,
Nest is popular.
Nest,
There's so many. So many.
I like about this is actually you can control from your iPad or from my iPhone, and also it gives you a report every month. So comparison with the neighborhood, how much you're saving, how much you're spending more. It's amazing. Sometimes those things is worth, I think, in my mind, to making note. But like I said, the lightings, you said it before. This in a house, people live in the house for long term. So when you leave, this is the place of worship. You wake up, you go back to sleep. You work, you enjoy with your family. So it's like a spiritual place, like you said. It's a spiritual destination. So I think all these lightings are very important. And going deeper, so I read a lot of books and all these podcasts, and someone said, like, we are we're not human beings having experience, spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having human experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
have heard that before too.
yeah, right. So I truly believe that because there's a purpose we're here. But again, all this lighting makes huge difference. Exactly. So
Yes.
that's why you have different type of lighting in a different room, different spaces. You in a bedrooms, movie theater, like movie, gym. So those are the things I think you can pay attention. You don't have to pay a lot of money, but those are important aspects of the house, of the overall design. Yeah.
Even timers on them. Like I just realized now the other day, I went food shopping at like 3 o'clock or something in the afternoon. And when I came back, it was starting to get dark and my front lights were on. They turned on. And I didn't realize this because I don't have the app on my phone, but my wife scheduled it to automatically turn on at 4 o'clock because now
that's
the
pretty cool. Yeah.
and stuff. And I thought about it. I was like, well, when I came home, if I drove into my house, how would I experience my house driving up my driveway to get to my house and it was pitch black?
Yeah.
I think of that experience versus you drive up and the lights are on. Like timers, they're very inexpensive. And a lot of them are like, you can get Amazon products that you can control from an app on your phone. And it's just very easy to do, but it can really affect how you experience your house or how you kind of like schedule life. These products are also really good to have and use if you have a vacation rental property. So like a short-term rental, an Airbnb, something like that. Because you can turn and operate lights and also your HVAC system, heating, cooling, while you're not even there. You can help monitor things like that. And I have seen some systems where you can also monitor, you can monitor your water bill by the county website. You could look that up on a regular basis. But if there was a leak, or I have a Nest system that also does my smoke and carbon monoxide detectors as well. You could really do like a whole house monitoring system. And this is where that ties into it. But if you needed to turn lights on for someone checking in really late, like all these are great things that can change. I'm also seeing a lot of kids' rooms where they really love these like string LED lights. Like they can make their room pink or green, or like maybe it's changing colors. Like I'm seeing a lot of teenagers in particular that really love those kinds of features in their room. And they're so inexpensive. Some of these you can get for less than 20 or 40 bucks, and you have a whole room worth of like string LED lights. And also like the Edison bulbs in backyards. So I've seen a lot of those. I've seen them be solar powered, and also once you plug in, and they really completely change a patio space. Like, I don't know. I've been to so many places where they have those like Edison bulb string lights, and I'm just like, this feels finished. Yeah. It feels like a curated, nice place. And it really does. Like, I'm even smiling thinking about these experiences that I've had, because I'm like, that really changed how I felt about that place, because it felt finished. It felt really curated. So when thinking about your next project or your home or your personal home and what you want that to feel like, these are all things to consider. Like, what can I light up? What needs to function and light up? What shouldn't? I'm loving I saw this recently, nightlight LEDs in kitchens for parents that get up with babies but don't want to turn on all of the kitchen lights. Like, they just want enough light to like function, like get a bottle and kind of keep everything dim. And I see those in bathrooms a lot too, like little motion censored night lights. They even have them for toilets where like it's a bidet and it has a nightlight that's motion censored.
I've seen a lot of kind of things. There are a lot of gadgets you can use it. I agree with you. I mean, sometimes it's just some of the things I realize, this lightings with ceiling lights and strip lights, you don't even use it that much. It just, I don't know how many times you get to sit there and turn black, red,
probably
blue, not too many times. But those are the things that sometimes as a real estate investor, as a flipper, you could just add those things without adding cost, and that just give you extra touch for people. Like you said, when you enter the house, people don't speak, but you can see their face. They're brightened. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Sometimes people are not, they are not talking about it. Let's say, especially open house, you could see. I go to a lot of open houses with my agents, because most of the people, they will like, when they meet with the builder directly, they become happy because they think they can ask a lot of questions to me. So I make this this a priority of going to the open house if I can. So some of the things I can see, I'm very observing about the people, human beings, and their face. So people when they come in, I'm actually even not talking, looking at their face. If they're lights, sometimes people they don't want to be too critic about other house, right? So they
Yeah.
don't want to say it, but their face
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't lie. Okay.
It says it all.
So when they came, they're like their face is brightening, especially kids. And I talk to the kids, and because usually they come with a family, I try to be friends with the kids and try to understand what they want, where they go.
Oh, and the kids are not going to lie to you. The kids are going to tell you exactly how they feel.
Exactly. Yeah. And especially it's funny thing because the kids and probably they are talking with their parents in the car, and maybe the parents they don't say these things, but kids they don't lie, and just when you ask them, they're gonna say it, And those are very important information and valuable information for you as a builder, as a flipper, as an investor. And one of the things I would say is that all the agents, not just these real estate investors, but also real estate consultants, right, agents. If you work with a new construction client, you may not have all the information about new construction procedure. So it's very important you have to have a builder partner like us who can give you the information when you need the information. Because if you go and talk to your customer who is trying to build a house and they ask questions to you and you don't know what it is, either you have to refer to me directly or you have to have you should learn, right? A little bit if you can, not about the whole construction, but having some information about process, it really helps. And also one thing I say is that especially for a custom home, working with the custom home builders, there are so many builders out here, right? So of course everybody say I'm the best builder in the town, right? I'm the best product. I can give you the best price. I'm the best service. But you only know after working with a builder, right?
Yeah.
So when
same thing with an agent.
Work,
every agent says the same stuff. Like, I'm the best based on your own opinion of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I always say to all the agents that I want to work with you. I want to partner with you. But before we do that, it's very important that we know each other on deeper level, personal level. You need to understand what kind of person I am and what kind of business philosophy, core principle of running this business and what kind of business, because all the custom home builders is not the same. For example, we're very specific about type of house we build. We don't build every house, every type of home, new construction. We do other builders building 50, 100 homes, 200 homes a year. Because I'm just building like 5 to 10 homes a year. And most of the spec, there's 1 or 2 homes is custom homes. But the people who come to me is very specific about my service, And if you refer a client to me and you don't know what I do, there's a disconnect. So I think it's just picking up the phone and sending email. Hey, how can I work with you? What can I do? How can you help? I think those things is very important for us for long term to build that relationship and trust with any other investors or agents.
Yeah. Well, and how helpful is it to you as a builder? But say you're building a home to sell, not specific to a client. So you're building a new construction flip, or you're just flipping a property. How helpful is it to speak with a consulting realtor, not just an agent, someone who's very familiar with what needs to be going on? And you can say, hey, what features in this primary bathroom that I should I be including? Should I be putting the mirrors that have the LED lights built in, or should I not include that? Is that like not a popular feature? Or in the kitchen, should I put in a built-in espresso machine, or is that really just not worth the $1,000 or whatever it's going to cost me to put that in this price point? That, as an investor agent, that's how you should be consulting your clients that are buying your renovation projects from you. The way I like to present potential listings for, and you know what, this is probably a completely separate episode, but I will get into this another time. But the way I work with clients is I like to get down to the nitty gritty of, do not flip this house if you're not going to include a wine cellar, a pool, an elevator, and this, because the price point dictates it and you will not get the money. The comps, here are things in the comps. It's not just the size of the house. It's not just the location. It's not just how many bedrooms and bathrooms. These bedrooms and bathrooms have these things, or the house will be great just like all the other houses. There's a challenge with the backyard. You better invest some money in making that backyard perfect. Like, those are things that I recommend, because a lot of times, and this goes, this is kind of the case for everyone, when agents bring a property to a developer flipper to flip, a lot of times that developer will then list that property with that agent who brought them the deal originally. It's a very common practice. It's not a required practice. So if you didn't show them value on when they were buying it, they're not guaranteed to list it with you later, nor do they owe that to you. So to be very clear, well, I guess that's my opinion, but that's how I feel about it. By showing all of that energy in helping them figure out how to make the most money, they're going to be committed to working with you because that is the consulting piece of it. And let's be frank, developers and flippers do not have time to run every scenario and number in the amount of times that offers need to get in. So if you really want to work with investors on things like this, you have to say, hey, say it's a flip and an easy renovation. Say it's like a, I don't know, like a ranch home. And you're like, listen, it needs LEDs in, or like recessed lighting in every room of the house. Like there's probably like 6 LEDs in each bedroom and like 12 in the living room. And you just kind of map certain things out. Be like, you really, these are value add things you would have to do. Can you make the construction budget work? You don't need to be an expert in construction to know what features need to be in a home to get it sold for the price that they would want to sell it for later. So it's important to notice things like wall sconces and sorry, excuse me. Another thing is like just general electrical, like charging stations, like outlets that have specific like USB ports in them and things like that. All of those tiny features, one, they often don't cost very much or anything at all. They're already installing an outlet. So just be like, hey, you really want to install the ones with the USB ports right next to the bed. Like little tiny things like that adds up, and that advice means so much that they're going to commit to working with you more in the future. And for you as a builder, Raj, like that kind of feedback is so valuable because now you know, hey, this really sounds kind of standard. We should be doing this all the time.
No, I definitely work with, and when I have a spec home or renovation projects, a flip, I work with our agents very closely because they know the neighborhood very well. And again, a smaller company like me, I don't have a team of designers and separate people. You know, I'm running around everywhere, and in at that time, I really don't have time to do a different place and see how other builders are doing, which I do as much as I can. But but the realtor, they're always going to the open house, taking their clients, their customers to the open house, seeing the house. Their perspective really helps me. I always listen to them and discuss with them. And that's very important part of it because, like I said, in our intention as an investor is try to get the optimum, return on your investment, right? So don't spend so much money, do the quality work, but at the same time, make sure that you are not going off the trend in the neighborhood. So that's very simple. You can go to the open houses, go look at it, or you can talk to the agents. So those are the basic things you do. I think is very important. And like we talked about this one before, it's a power team. You have to, one person cannot do anything. By builder, myself cannot do everything myself, right? So I have to have a team. I have to power agents, a title company, I have the attorneys, a mortgage company. So all this part of the group is a very part of your team to grow in a way that you can succeed for long term. And power, like I said, real estate agents are number one always, because especially someone like me, a lot of tear downs we buy off market, and if you build that trust and relation with your local agents, they bring it to you directly, and then it's a win-win for both parties, because for the seller also, they're getting the full price from the builder, from the buyer, then also they don't have to list it in all that paperwork. They are avoiding it and doing this process more quicker and less painful, right?
And hopefully.
So it's all about a relationship again. So again, we digress from the topic a little bit, but all these things in my mind is a part of the whole design project to make it the product you want at the end and sell to a family, deserving family. Because at the end, I think we are serving people to their families, right? You build a house, some family will live for long term, and they will appreciate your product, and that's your goal.
Yes, always the goal. And look for the opportunities to make the experience of the property the best possible. Lighting and plumbing, huge component of that, and you're always going to sell it for more and faster. You're going to sell a lot faster. Awesome. Well, I think we went real deep into this, and I thought that was really good. So I'm excited. But if you have any comments or questions about specific types of lighting or plumbing, let us know in the comments, and Raj and I will be happy to get back to you. Next week, Raj and I are going to be going over roofing, which I am sure there's going to be a lot of questions and interest in that. So if you have any roofing questions, also leave comments below, and we'll make sure that we include that next week. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Raj. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Danielle. Have a great weekend.
You too.